Good evening, everyone. It's really great to have such a nice big crowd here tonight. Thank you very much for coming. I know it's nasty out. I was asking my sister-in-law, do you remember that one time we had a March concert and the weather was nice? It takes years and in some cases for some of the members in this group, more than 8 decades of practice in order to bring the love we have for music to you, our very special and supportive audience. It means a lot to all of us to have you here tonight because without you, we couldn't do this. I want to thank you for your continued support over the years, for the money that you've given us so that we can keep going. And also for always cheering us on, talking with us, visiting with us. You are like our family to us, and we look forward to it every time our concerts come around. I want to thank the North Bend Presbyterian Church and Pastor Eric Lindsay and all his office staff and others who helped put this situation of moving the furniture around so that we can spread out and have room to play for you. It's a nice place for us. It's comfortable, and I think we fit in well here. I also want to mention that thanks to a grant from the Floyd Ingram Foundation, we are going to be putting on a concert for all the 5th graders in the Coos Bay, North Bend school districts and children from the Kingsview, Riverview, and Lighthouse School on April 23rd. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm wondering if any of the support staff and amazing teachers of those kids are here tonight. I told them if they came, they'd have a heads up of what they might expect when we play for them. The Performing Arts Center seats 500 students, and we have 497 kids and their chaperones coming. So it's going to be full of kids, should be high energy. Recently, I saw a sign that read, "Music is what feelings sound like." And so over the next hour, we will be sharing our feelings with all of you. We hope that we are able to touch your heart, light up your life, and fill you with the great elixir that music brings to all of us. So let's get started. I present to you our esteemed and beloved director, Mr. Stephen Simpkins.
So, the lower instruments in the band often feel left out. They seldom get to play the melody. Recently, the tuba players, their eyes shining with tears, asked if we could play a piece that features the lower end of the band. And I'm a trombone player, so I felt their pain. In just a moment, you're going to hear the tubas, trombones, euphoniums, bass clarinet, and baritone and tenor saxes as you've never heard them before. I guarantee they will not hold back, and I want to point out that the neat little circus march that we are about to play was recorded by no less than Frederick Fennell and his famous Eastman Wind Ensemble, so it is considered a major piece of band literature. And now, featuring the bass instruments of our band, here is Them Basses by G.H. Hafeen. I asked North Bend's multi-award winning band director, Amber Yester, to suggest a piece for our band to play for this concert. Without hesitation, she handed me a work entitled, "Oh Whaley, Whaley," a setting of the old Scottish folk song, "The Water is Wide." Whaley, Whaley means whale, whale, or woe is me. I suppose because the water is wide and the singer can't get across. At any rate, it is a sensitive and imaginative setting of the famous folk song, O Waly Waly by Christopher M. Nelson. has always been one of the aims of the Bay Area Concert Band to boost participation in school bands. As Peggy mentioned, our band next month will play a special concert for the prospective band students of the Coos Bay and North Bend school districts. Of course, we chose music that we thought would appeal to older elementary students. Since most of us are children at heart, we decided to play some of those numbers tonight. Moana is a very popular Disney movie from 2016, which was inspired by ancient Polynesian myths. The film tells the story of a young daughter of a coastal chief who is chosen by the ocean itself to reunite a sacred relic to the goddess Te Fiti. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Tafiti. When disaster strikes her island, Moana sets sail in search of Maui, a legendary demigod voiced by the wrestler Dwayne Johnson, in hopes of returning the relic to Tafiti and saving her people. Here is selections from Moana, arranged by Jay Bocock. two. All right. At our Christmas concert, we performed a piece entitled Prairie Song by a composer with whom I was previously unfamiliar, Carl Stroman. It had a couplets quality that I quite liked, so I looked for another work by the same composer, and I found To a Distant Place. You've probably noticed that I like to tell you something interesting about the music that we play. The composer tells us that the piece is based on an American folk melody. I didn't find that very interesting, so I went online in search of some fascinating tidbits, and I found nothing. There didn't seem to be a folk tune associated with the words To a Distant Place, and I'm entirely unfamiliar, or was entirely unfamiliar with the tune. Nonetheless, I like the piece, so I'm going to give it to you straight, unburdened by any of my witticisms. Here is To a Distant Place by Carl Stroman. Leroy Anderson was an American arranger, conductor, and composer who wrote dozens of popular orchestral works, including Blue Tango, The Syncopated Clock, and Sleigh Ride. No less than John Williams has described him as one of the great American masters of light orchestral music. Anderson is a great favorite of many members of our band, so I often program his works. Tonight, you will hear Pirate Dance from the Broadway musical comedy Goldilocks, with book and lyrics by Gene and Walter Carr, who are best known for writing the novel Don't Eat the Daisies. All right. And they were New York Times drama critics. All right. I'm not at all sure how a musical entitled Goldilocks can have a number called Pirate Dance, but it does, and here it is, Pirate Dance by Leroy Anderson. Do we have any veterans in the audience tonight? Please stand up. There's Bill. Now we get to why I just had our veterans recognized. It'll take a moment. In previous concerts, I have spoken of Samuel R. Hazo, a member of a younger generation of American composers who are bringing concert band music, in my opinion, to new heights. In 2003, Hazo wrote a piece to celebrate the centennial of the band program of the New Mexico Military Institute and to honor those who had given their lives for our country and the American people. The piece centers around a poem written by his father, Samuel John Hazo, the poet laureate of Pennsylvania, and a distinguished professor of English at Duquesne University. I had intended to have the poem voiced by a band member and Lieutenant Colonel Jerry Zabriskie, U.S. Army retired, and a graduate of North Bend High School, who has served in combat zones around the world. Unfortunately, Jerry has had a mild stroke. He's going to be okay. But he did not feel up to participating in tonight's concert. His place, yes. His place will be taken by our youngest veteran, Specialist Zach Anthony, U.S. Army. Here is Each Time You Tell Their Story by Samuel J. Hazo.
Someone else, whose life means suddenly as much to them as theirs, or more. To honor them, why speak of duty or the will of governments? Think first of love each time you tell their story. It gives their sacrifice a name and takes from war its glory.
Now on a lighter note, is there anyone who doesn't like the old Warner Brothers cartoons? You know, Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, Porky Pig, the Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, Tom and Jerry, and many more. Part of their appeal had to do with the madcap music that accompanied them. These wonderful old cartoons are still popular with children today, so we decided to program a medley of that music in our upcoming children's concert, and we're going to play it for you tonight as well. Here is Looney Tunes Overture by Bill Holcomb. Our last number here is going to take a little explanation. And here it comes. Early in the Civil War, the staging state of Georgia, saw a few hostilities. Merchants and citizens were free to ship arms, munitions, and other supplies to Confederate troops in the Northeast. A Union spy named James Andrews noted the vulnerability of the rail line that carried those supplies, and he plotted a daring raid to disrupt the flow. Anderson traveled to Marietta with 19 Union soldiers dressed as civilians. There, they boarded the northbound train pulled by a wood-burning locomotive named the General. When the train stopped for breakfast at a rural station, Andrews and his men uncoupled the engine, tender, and 3 boxcars from the passenger cars and sped off with the intention of doing as much damage as possible to the rails and bridges. The conductor and 2 railroad employees chased the train on foot for miles until they were able to commandeer another locomotive and a group of Confederate soldiers. And amazingly enough, they were able to catch Andrews and his raiders. Joel Chandler Harris later called the chase the boldest adventure of the war. In the 1920s, Buster Keaton filmed the chase in a famous movie, The General. And let me point out that that film was shot near Cottage Grove, Oregon. The venerable band composer Robert W. Smith commemorated this event with a work entitled The Great Locomotive Chase. All right, we've got one more. John Philip Sousa composed his most famous march, and probably the most famous march ever written, on Christmas Day in 1896. He was on an ocean liner with his wife returning from a vacation in Europe. He must have been in a patriotic mood because he worked out the entire march in his head while he was on the ship. When he landed, he immediately found staff paper and pen and wrote out the complete score in parts. The Stars and Stripes Forever.
Thank you.